Hello and welcome. I'm Parul Sharma and you're watching Zoom TV. Today I have with me an actress who's the epitome of timeless grace and talent, and two young actors who are raring to go and ready to make their mark. Please join me in welcoming Madhuri Dixit Nene, Lakshvir Saran and Muskkaan Jaferi. Hello everyone, how are you doing?
Good, good.
I'm great. Firstly, I'd like to say congratulations on the trailer. It's great. And I watched a little bit of the show and it's extremely riveting. I want to start with Madhuri ma'am. You've actually been around the fame game for a pretty long time in your life and you've kind of seen it all, so to say. What, in your opinion, would you say are certain downsides of the fame game? Whether it's your personal experience or that of your friends, contemporaries, or just people that you know in this industry. And then also, what are some really good upsides where you've been really happy and something that's been really great about the fame game?
I think the upsides would be, of course, very obvious upsides because, you know, you have the fame, everybody knows you, and, the downside would be that you have fame and everybody knows you. So it's like that. But I think it's great because I don't take fame very seriously. I think I'm more of an actress first. Like I love what I do. I love my craft. I love to act. I love to play different characters, and that's what I like to do. And when I played Anamika Anand, it was another challenging character that I played in my life. So fame has its goodness when you treat fame as fame, you know.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to hold on to it and you know you don't want to lose it and it's like it becomes your all, then that's when the bad side of fame kind of pops out. Also, it's your own experiences in life, what kind of people you meet. I come from a very protective family.
Yeah.
My mom and dad were always with me when I was working. So for me, my life has been very different, a different path behind the curtain, you could say. But Anamika Anand's life has been not so fortunate. So
and
behind
many
the curtains,
others also, like, I mean,
there are
normal people.
There
that
have
we
been
know
people
been
who
like
have
that.
had bad experiences, and she's one of them.
Yeah.
Anamika Anand, where she's had bad experiences in her life, and her whole dynamics, even with her family, is very different. So I think there are goodness to all professions. There's a good side and a bad side, and I think acting as a profession also has its good and bad sides.
Ups and downs.
Yep.
There's this really interesting line that Sanjay Kapoor's character says to your character in the show in the very first episode, which is heroes will be their grandfather's ages and they'll be romancing women their daughter's ages. I think it's really great that such a thing has been said out loud, especially in a show like this, because it is a very, very occurring phenomena in this industry, right? Ma'am, for you, why do you think this is still a thing in Bollywood? Because personally, I don't understand why. We should go with the times and get with it. I mean, do you concur? How will it change?
Well, the thing is, ageism is everywhere, right? It's not just in Bollywood, it's in every profession. Everybody wants to be young, everybody wants youth. I mean, because that's what they feel is important in life, to have the youth. But I think with age, I mean, the kind of experiences that make you, and I think with age, you can do so much more, you know, from your experiences. You can play different characters because you've met so many people, you've lived your life, and there's so much more to you than just a pretty face or someone who is talented and who can do something. But I think that's very important, and that's what happens because everybody is so youth-oriented. They all want to appear, you know, more youthful, more younger, and you have so many products in the market, and everything is towards that. But I think things need to change, and I think we need to be more real because there are real people in this world, and the reality is that everything that, you know, grows has to ebb at some point. Sure. Everything that, even trees, they grow, they flower, they die, you know. So, so I think it's been beautifully said through our, series and the fame game. I mean, there are no words that are minced or everything is like point blank and said out loud.
Ageism is everywhere. It's just that in Bollywood, it's kind of in front of your face because you see it, right? Like in other professions, not so much, but over here. So I think it's really interesting that it was said out loud. Muskkaan, I want to know your opinion on this as well, since you are a young actor, and I feel like whatever you would have to say about this would be relevant as well.
See, I mean, at the end of the day, for me, it's going to be about the character, and there are certain things work a certain way. Yes, I mean, everybody works in a certain way, but I'll have to play my character. That's all. I don't know why it is the way it is. Quite honestly, I have no answers for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I have to play a character, I have to play a character. I don't know.
Fair. Lakshvir, being an actor who's sort of just starting out in this industry, how did you keep yourself from getting overwhelmed working with like veterans and such seasoned people like Madhuri ma'am, Sanjay sir, Suhasini ma'am? How do you kind of give yourself that reality check and stay in your zone?
I think a lot of the credit has to go to them as well, because they created that environment which was about the work. So automatically you also become a part of that. But at the end of the day, it's in my training. The moment I see the script, the lines, I don't think of anything else. I think of the scene, I think of the character, and that is also my responsibility. I cannot, at such a big stage, at such a big point, say ki arey mujhse nahi ho raha because kaun baitha hai samne. It's not professional. You cannot do that. You're there for a reason. You're getting paid to do that, so you have to do it as well as you can.
Do you remember having any like starstruck moments?
I mean, of course, the first time you see her, it's impossible to not have that. But
that's very true.
But as I said, she is so welcoming, and she creates that space of familiarity, and usse bahut farak padta hai. So you automatically start easing the relationship and building it to a point where you get so comfortable. Like I was just saying that there were days when I was off and like not feeling great, and I would just go sit next to her, not even talk, and I would feel better slightly, from whatever I was. So that's the connection you want to build with your co-actor.
Yeah.
And I hope that reflects in the show as well. And yeah, I've had a ball.
It did. Muskkaan, you've obviously grown up around the films and this industry, right? Was it a no-brainer for you to get into acting, or was it a conversation because you've also seen the effects of the fame game, so to say, right?
Yeah, but since I was a little child, I would always just dance. And like since I started learning to walk, I would just put my hands up and I would just keep bobbing to music and stuff like that. And I was always, that was my first, after walking, that was the first thing I did.
Imagine you doing that.
So, and of course I saw my family around it all the time, but I myself was really inclined towards it. And like my parents knew that, okay, this is what she's going to do, not just because we're in it, but they thought at least that she has a gift for it. So, yeah. I mean,
that's how that went around.
Yeah.
Madhuri ma'am, I want to talk a little bit about family because this show stresses so much on that. Much like Anamika, you're an extremely famous celebrity, and your kids have also had to grow up around your immense fame and sort of had to deal with that, right? Were there any struggles or adjustments with regards to your profession that you had to sort of navigate through along with you and sir as parents? Did you have to like have a conversation with the kids, or was that like just something that they kind of eased into?
No, I think when I moved here, they were quite young. They were young enough to understand a few things, young enough not to understand a lot.
Sure.
So I remember my son came from school one day and he's like, you know what my friend said to me today? I said, what? So he asked me, who's your mom? So I said, my mom is my mom. So he says, we know your mom is Madhuri Dixit. So, and he was little, he was just 6 years old.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, he didn't know what to say. And then they said, oh, you're so lucky to have her as your mom. And then he came home and he's like, but mom, you're my mom, right? You're just my mom.
Who else are you?
So I said, yeah, of course, I'm just your mom.
Yeah.
It's I'm Madhuri Dixit. For other people, they look at me as Madhuri Dixit, but you are my son and I'm your mom. And then slowly, I mean, over the years, they've gotten, kind of used to me being a celebrity. Because when I was living in Denver, I mean, it was completely like,
Sheltered.
we were sheltered, and they were not exposed to all this. Even the Indian friends I made there, initially they were awestruck and all, but finally they became my friends.
Yeah.
And so, there was never this influence of me being anything. When I came here, it was different. And so now they are kind of quite chilled about it. It's like, Mom, you were cool. And, I saw you that dance. You were cool. You danced very cool and, all that. So it's great now.
You are pretty cool, by the way.
Yeah,
The
thank you.
reels and everything. I mean, if there's somebody who's adapted and who's just getting with it, it's you, I must say.
Oh, I have fun.
We can tell. Also, segue question: has Mr. Nene watched any of your movies now? Because the last time we chatted, he was like, "I have not watched anything. I've watched like one thing. I just cannot."
Yeah, I mean, he has seen a few films now. Like he saw Devdas and he saw smatterings of this and that, but not really. I mean, at home we are like people, you know. We are not talking about our profession or work. He grew up there for 17 years. He went through medical school and everything. Then he became a cardiothoracic surgeon. So he really didn't have time to watch movies exactly the time when I was working in at that time. He doesn't know Hindi. He's still trying to learn Hindi. So he knows Marathi. He speaks Marathi very well, but Hindi is still picking up. So at that time, he never really saw any movies, not just mine or, you know, any Hindi movie. He was too busy. And his friends were all people who had grown up there. So, you know. So that's why, but that's great. I mean, that's a great thing because for him, I'm a person first.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's very normalized.
Like it's like Anamika Anand, right?
Yeah.
When she's out in the crowd and you know she doesn't know what to expect, what people will expect from her. The same thing, you know. I don't know if you have seen my movie, say, Hum Aapke Hain Kaun.
Okay.
Okay. So I feel, do people think I'll come out and say, Didi, tera dancing like that from my house? I don't know. From my room, I come out. I get up in the morning looking like that. Who knows, you know, what they expect. But with him, when I met him for the first time, it was like two people just meeting somewhere, you know. And it was so... I woke up like this.
I'm just imagining you do that. Hilarious.
So yeah, so I think, but Anamika Anand is very different. I think differently, but she thinks very differently in the sense, for her, it's very important. People should feel that way, and you know. So I guess we are very, very different. The fame game.
Same game.
The fame game is quite different for you. Yes, absolutely. Lakshvir and Muskkaan, what have been your biggest takeaways working with such seasoned and veteran professionals such as the cast of the Fame Game? Please tell me specifics and give me details about like things you picked up from them on set and like things that you're really that are gonna stick with you and you're gonna take with you.
Punctuality.
This I know.
She was on time. You know, I came into this project from obviously, you know, the learnings of theatre and everything else, and from my college days, we were very big on punctuality. And I was like, bhai, main to punctual hu. Ki matlab main to time pe aunga. But suddenly, there were certain days when I realized that, oh, she's ready and she's on set. I was like, oh, shit. So
That's true because even I have a theatre bag.
I'm like, that's like, so that is something that I've learned, you know. So no matter how much work you do, how much big you become, even like, you know, there is no excuse. No excuse to be late. You have to be there, you have to be ready, which also she was. So, I mean, yeah, it was nice because you also up your game, you also have to be ready. So, you know, there's no lackluster about things. And there was another thing that I really loved in, so we had a few scenes. I mean, Manav is also there.
Yeah.
So just one of the scenes where I'm talking about music and music theory, and just before the scene, he comes up to me and say, let's have a conversation. You know, something as small as that.
Yeah.
It's so nice when, you know, he said that and we went and we genuinely had a conversation. Because before the scene, you're thinking about your lines, you're thinking about the position, the movement, क्या किस तरीके का shot है, बहुत सारी चीजें चल रही हैं. Suddenly, एक को actor आके बोलता है, सुनना, बात करते हैं. And it helps. And actually, that scene turned out to be better than the previous takes or whatever. So, yeah, something like this, I mean, it's very helpful.
Muskkaan, what about you?
Yeah, but I'm genuinely always going to remember this all my life, that be a good human being first, and that's the biggest thing I've learned from her, quite honestly. Yeah. And but the one thing that I've noticed with ma'am is that she doesn't just perform it as an acting piece per se. Her whole body performs, like with the scene. I mean, it's not just a dialogue, it's not just you sitting. But that's something that I have seen, that it's almost like a dance. I know this might be, it's not a joke.
Poetry
but
in motion.
It really is, it really is. I gave an example earlier also that even if it's just one spoon, like you're picking up the spoon and putting it in the tea, but it's just in her hands. And I said, wow, this is so much nuance in performance, and in her eyes. That is something that I've learned with her, that she has to do nothing. And that's something I really want to learn someday. That is something else. You just look, you see so much happening in her eyes. Like that's
Definitely.
One more, sorry, this is going to, I know this is very, very,
Go on.
I know it's very
genuine.
difficult for you to get compliments like this every day, but rhythm as well.
Yeah.
I was really like, I mean, her sense of rhythm in conversation, in dialogues. So it reflects in terms of ki kab pause, kab bolna hai, kab rukna hai, kab. So all of those things, you know, I was just sitting and learning throughout, and it's so good that you get paid to learn.
That's very true. And even with Sanjay sir, it's the same thing that I remember this one fine day I came on set and I did not know what was going on. Everything was a little hectic. And I didn't say anything to him, but he just noticed it. I mean, he just noticed that I was not feeling okay. And then he asked, he's like, what's wrong? And then he spoke to the AD and he said, kya ho gaya? Dekh lo bhai, kya ho gaya? And I was like, they're really taking care of us. Like, and that was like more than anything, even if you become a huge star someday, this is what you need to be. Like, that was...
They have amazing kids. They think so much. I remember when I was maybe where you are in your life, I was not thinking about rhythm. Oh, dialogues mein rhythm hai, ye hai, wo hai. My God, these guys think so much. We used to just go and say our lines. That's go in the front of camera and say the best way you can, you know. And I like the fact that they're so studied and they know so much. Even my kids, I mean, they know so much. They talk about films and scripts and, you know, all that. And I'm like, I never thought about that when I was
They're into like movies.
We just intuitively learned on our jobs, but they know so much already, which is amazing. And I don't know, both of them are so talented. I don't know, kahan tum log jaoge aage? I don't know, because right now, abhi se hi itna inko sab pata hai that, I don't know, it'll be very interesting to see your journeys. Really.
It's feeling like Valentine's Day Love Fest.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me, guys. This has been an absolute pleasure. Just to end this, can we all do Didi Tera Devar Divana while we leave? I think it'll be hilarious. Just like...
Can I please not spoil the step?
What you did, that was great. I love it. Thank you so much.
I apologize to everyone watching.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you.